Hello, everyone, and welcome to this interesting session from ITI Mutual Fund with regards to ELSS, which is Equity Linked Savings Schemes investments, the mutual funds which comprise a part of the ELSS category, and the ELSS mutual funds, which are a part of Section 80C of income tax, which help you in savings tax on your investments. So today we are talking about its merits and how this investment avenue compares against the other options available under Section 80C. ELSS funds are diversified equity funds, which primarily invest in stocks and listed companies. These stocks are chosen across market caps of large, mid, and small companies and sectors. These funds aim to maximize capital appreciation over the long run, and the fund manager who manages such funds picks stocks across the length and breadth of the market. One interesting factor about ELSS tax saver category is, as per the latest data from the Association of Mutual Funds of India data as of end of October 2023, the maximum number of folios in any mutual fund category is in the ELSS category. And this category today has about 1.75 lakh crores of AUM and assets under management from investors across the length and breadth. To talk about Section 80C, ELSS investments, and ITI ELSS tax saver fund, I am joined here today with two of my panelists, and I'm happy to introduce today Mr. Krishna Pandare, who is from Nidhi Investments, Pune, and Mr. Vishal Jaju, Fund Manager of ITI ELSS Tax Saver Fund. To introduce Mr. Krishna Pandare, Mr. Pandare has a rich experience today of more than 2 decades when it comes to investments and managing clients' money. Nidhi Investments has the distinguished landmark achievement of managing more than 1,500 retail clients and assets under management, which are in excess of 180 crores. Mr. Krishna is known for his personalized approach, strategic investments, and committed to ethical practices. And he is a very respected figure in this field. So thank you so much, Mr. Pandare, for joining us,
Thank you
being
very
a
much.
part of this session and being a distinguished member of the panelists. I'll come back to you with questions when it comes to this category. Mr. Vishal Jaju, he has been with ITI Mutual Fund from January 2023. He is the co-fund manager in ITI ELSS Tax Saver Fund and ITI Balanced Advantage Fund. He has worked earlier with Tata Investments Corporation. He's a chartered accountant. He's a PGDM Finance and an MBA by qualification. He has more than 16 years of experience in capital markets, and he's very passionate about equity research and bottoms-up stock picking approach. So without any further delay, I'll start today's session. My first question is for Mr. Pandre. Sir, investors are very inclined towards traditional tax-saving instruments like, for example, insurance products. From an assured return expectation mindset of such investors, how do you present ELSS to a traditional investor?
Yes, traditional investment offer very much less return than the ELSS because ELSS offer better return opportunity. It invests in across the market cap, and other one I will tell you, it is low lock-in period, means only 3 years compared to other investment product like insurance, 20 years lock-in period minimum. Returns are range one. Second one, PPF. PPF is 15-year lock-in period. After 6 years, you can withdraw 50% amount. Return range is about 7 to 8%. If you go for bank FD, 5 years lock-in period, return taxable, and only and third one is this one NSC, 5 year lock-in period. Compared to that, that is the only least lock-in period, that is 3 years lock-in period, and returns are more prominent in the sense better than other investment product. Second thing I will tell, it is open portfolio. Open means you can see where the fund manager invests, you can see the fact sheet, you can see on website or anywhere. तो फंड मैनेजर ने पैसा किधर डाला है वो आप देख सकते हो. Third one is historically ELSS has proven that it given good return. That's why I will suggest this investment is more beneficial than traditional investment. So I will suggest my client to go for that, definitely.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Vishal, my question is to you. When compared to a normal diversified equity fund, especially mainstream categories like flexi cap or a multi cap category, are there any specific differences when it comes to managing an ELSS fund?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. When we talk about the ELSS fund, the duration, the beauty of the product is it is really an investment product in every sense when you have a lock-in of 3 years. Because what happens during any financial year, there are ups and downs in the market. Like a couple of months ago, we were discussing Israel-Hamas attack. Last year, next year, we could be discussing some sort of election or some other sort of uncertainty. Last year, it was Russia-Ukraine war. So if an investor invests his money and gives it a time duration of 3 years minimum, then the real unfolding of that particular investment or the value unlocking exercise happens in real sense. If it is open, it may happen that not all investors may stick to a longer time frame of minimum 3+ years, and therefore there is a scope that he may withdraw from this, looking at the situation in the market, looking at some uncertainties, or he may switch on to some other instruments at any point of time. So, for example, if he holds on to this instrument only for 1 year or this kind of instrument and then switches to other instrument, but when the real value unlocking or where the real returns are supposed to get unfolded, then he ends up missing that opportunity. So I will say that any duration for a small shorter period of time, then it becomes a trader's approach. But if an investor likes to give a medium to long term approach, then ELSS is one of the best categories of investment in its category.
Thank you, Vishal, for that. Mr. Pandre, there is one, as a practitioner, you would see that a lot of investors now consider Section 80C as per the norms given under the old regime of income tax. So currently, salaried people till up to 7.5 lakh rupees per annum of income can pay no tax thanks to the tax slabs and the standard deduction under the new regime. In such a scenario, how do you talk about the benefits to someone who is starting to earn now, is starting his earning life, and would choose a new regime, and at some time, therefore, forgoes the benefits of Section 80C? Not to say that either or both as anything is right or wrong, but anybody who chooses a new regime doesn't get the benefit of 80C. In such a scenario, what would be your discussion with such an investor?
Yeah. See, the only thing that new person restrict to go for old regime is that lock-in period. But let me tell you, it is not a problem. I will tell you, it is a financial success against financial weapons against सक्सेस. हाउ? अगर 3 साल का लॉक इन है तो 3 साल तो उसे रुकना ही रुकना है, और 3 साल के बाद अगर उसको रिटर्न अच्छे मिलते हैं तो ही विल बी हैप्पी टू कंटिन्यू. सो ये एक सीक्रेसी है कि आपको रुकना है, लेकिन अगर आप रुकोगे तो आपको अच्छा रिटर्न मिलेगा, देन ही विल हैप्पी टू कंटिन्यू दैट वन. तो मेरे अभी भी क्लाइंट कुछ है जिन्होंने 15 साल पहले रिटर्न किया था, वो आज भी इंटैक्ट है. व्हाई? बिकॉज ऑफ दे आर गेटिंग गुड रिटर्न्स. तो मेरी सलाह रहेगी कि अगर आपने टेस्ट चख लिया एक बार तो यू विल बी हैप्पी टू कंटिन्यू.
Okay. Just a follow-up question to that. Could you also just explain a little bit in detail about the impact of new regime for professionals and separately for salaried individuals? So is there a case to choose the merits and demerits of both the regimes, and what would be the correct path for an investor going ahead?
It depends on couple of things. One is income level. The person who has less income level, he may go for new regime because he takes more salary at home. But as his income increases, so he will find the ways to save the tax. Secondly, investment preferences. अगर कोई बताता है कि मुझे लॉक इन नहीं चाहिए बट आई वांट फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी, देन अगेन इट डिपेंड्स. वो क्या टैक्स भरने के लिए तैयार रहेगा बंदा, तो वो चॉइस करेगा. लेकिन उसका भी इनकम जब बढ़ता है तो he will also find the ways to save the tax. He will go for tax saving like ATC, ATD, and it then old regime will offer him better opportunity as a tax saver. डेफिनेटली।
Sure.
और इसमें दो ये और एक कहूँगा, ये खाली चॉइस का फर्क है। द पर्सन हु वांट्स टैक्स बेनिफिट ही मे गो फॉर ओल्ड रिजिम, और जिसका कम इनकम आता है वो न्यू रिजिम में जाएगा। इट डिपेंड्स ऑन पर्सन टू पर्सन, बट आई विल टेल यू, इफ यू वांट टू सेव द टैक्स, ओल्ड रिजिम इज गुड फॉर यू।
Oh, sure. Thank you for that. Vishal, my next question is to you. Could you just describe your current approach to managing the ITI ELSS Tax Saver Fund? What are the key management features which you would like to tell the audience about?
The way it is said in Hindu mythology that the 9 planetary positions have an impact on your fortunes, and these are a part of your horoscope. I expect we have 9 C's which have a significant impact on the portfolio composition of our scripts that we choose. Now, these 9 C's have each attribute and is different in every pattern, and the companies have to undergo one or two of these characteristics out of these 9 to really form a part of this portfolio. The first C stands for cost leadership. So we are a population of 140 crore people, but more than 100 crore people still survive for less than 2 lakh rupees per annum. So if any corporate house or any industry or any company for that matter has got a product or service which offers a decent quality in terms of its deliverable, but is available at affordable price point, then it's a huge success in Indian market. We have got several examples to justify that. So first criteria was cost leadership. Second C stands for canvas of opportunity. Opportunity canvas meaning the largest jewelry retailer in the country, which is also happens to be a listed player from an eminent business house of the country, has only got less than 8% market share, and it is still the largest retailer in the country, and the category itself is unfolding and expanding. So while the category will grow, but this company will also continue to gain market share and may reach double digits in few years, and this journey will go on. So that will lead to good amount of wealth creation in this. The third C stands for challenger approach. Now, challenger approach means you will not have uniform market conditions, uniform economic growth at every point of time. There could be phases of high growth, there could be phases of low growth, slowdown in the economy. But there are certain corporates which tend to do better than when the economy is doing good, and when the economy is on a relatively weaker footing, then also they tend to do relatively better than the peers by taking market share from them. So that is another area to grow and show the resilience or the outperformance in the business model. The fourth is the cash flow generation. Certain companies which are aloof to debt, don't have high debt in the balance sheet, and have immense cash flow generation capacity. Their balance sheets are cash rich and don't have debt. Because often we see that interest rates go up. There, globally, we have seen problems. In India also, we have seen ILNFS issue, funding issue, and a lot of corporates face a problem during such times wherein though the business models are intact, the P&L account is on track, but because of high debt, high leverage in the balance sheet, they are not able to do well. So it is the right mix of cash and debt in the balance sheet. Another C stands for the competitiveness. The competitiveness is the pole position or the leadership position of the company in the category in which it operates. So it could be the largest cement player in the country. It could be the largest power sector generating company in the country. Now, because of the size and scale, the economies of scale that they derive, the benefits that they derive, so these percolate into the earnings and that differentiate from the other players in the category. One more C is the contra bets that we choose. So if you all may recall that till last several years ago, it was considered that it is not ESG compliant to invest in thermal based coal power plants or anything related to coal or cigarette manufacturing companies. But the narrative has drastically changed in the last few quarters. So if an investor has invested in these kind of companies, whether it is the whole thermal based coal power generation ecosystem or the largest cigarette manufacturing company, then the returns have been much higher for the investors. Another C that we can discuss is the crisis. So as I had mentioned, a couple of months ago, we were discussing that markets weakened because of Israel and Hamas attack. 1.5 years ago, we were facing issues with regard to, again, a global crisis with regard to Russia and Ukraine crisis. So due to geopolitical concerns, if there are temporary falls in the market, but the fundamentals of the economy are buoyant, if the earnings of these companies in the ensuing period is not expected to change or is not expected to come down, then that correction in share price offers an opportunity. And like it is said, that every crisis offers an opportunity. So these kind of opportunities should be banked upon. The 8C is the cusp of turnaround. There are certain sectors which could be out of flavor for several years. There could be certain companies which could be loss making, but when they are on the verge of turning around, then they make super phenomenal returns for their investors. A classic example could be telecom sector, from where a 13-player market became a 3-player market, and now that 3-player market has literally become a 2-player market. Similarly, something can be said about the defense PSU defense companies. They were laggards till barring the last couple of years. They were laggards before that, but of late they have created good amount of wealth for the investors. Wind power companies, two-wheeler companies were stagnant for quite some time, but have been performing at this juncture. The 9th C, but the most important, is the corporate governance practices in the company. Whichever company you choose, whatever projections you may have with regard to profitability, balance sheet, and the rest of the other criteria, but if the corporate governance practices are not of gold standards, then it could be in the news for all the wrong reasons. It could be an ED raid, it could be an income tax raid, it could be some issues with the promoter in personal capacity, and ultimately the share price suffers. So therefore, the corporate governance has to be given humongous importance. And after discussing all these 9 C's, continuously on every quarterly basis, we evaluate all these companies on the consistency in past, what I mentioned in the annual reports. Ultimately, with every passing quarter, are they meeting those numbers? That's the final C. And this is these tests, these companies form a part of.
Thank you so much, Vishal, for that great explanation of all the 9 C's. Krishna sir, my next question is to you. A lot of our viewers right now are practitioners from the industry, MFDs or advisors. How does one MFD be aware of the investor psyche when it comes to pitching ELSS schemes? What do they need to keep in mind when they talk about tax saving products? And you especially, if you could also share that, how do you assess one ELSS scheme against the other, and what are the key attributes which you look forward when you judge these schemes?
Yeah. First question I will answer. 2004 के बाद गवर्नमेंट ने पेंशन बंद कर दिया. प्राइवेट के लिए तो था ही नहीं, पेंशन की बात ही नहीं थी. तो मैंने इस तरीके से लोगों को पीच किया है कि ये पेंशन समझ के इन्वेस्ट करो, चाहे एसआईपी के जरिए करो या एक मुश्त करो, लमसम करो, लेकिन जब आपने जॉब शुरू किया तो 20 साल तक इसको चलाओ. उसको रिटायरमेंट तक छूना ही नहीं है. रिटायरमेंट के बाद में वहां से आपको एसडब्ल्यूपी लेना है, हो गई आपकी पेंशन. रही गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय की बात, उनको तो 2004 से बंद हो गया. प्राइवेट के लिए तो था ही नहीं पेंशन. तो 2004 के बाद जो शुरू हुआ, उनके भी ये सोचना पड़ेगा कि ये पेंशन समझ के, अगर उन्होंने सोच बदली, पेंशन समझ के अगर इसमें इन्वेस्ट किया, तो दे मे फाइंड गुड रिटर्न ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. और जैसा कि मैंने पहले भी बताया, अभी दोहराऊंगा कि जिस लोगों ने शुरू से शुरुआत की है मेरे साथ, 15-20 साल से उनका इन्वेस्टमेंट अभी भी मेरे पास पड़ा है, क्योंकि उनको वेल्थ दिख रहा है. सेकंडली, आपका सेकंड क्वेश्चन था कि can you elaborate second question supporting?
Yes, I asked that how do you assess one scheme from the other? लोग कैसे चुनेंगे कि क्या सही है और क्या गलत है?
Okay. तो ELSS में क्या होता है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन एज वी गिव द सुटेबल solution to the client. कि अगर क्लाइंट यंग क्लाइंट है, अभी उसने शुरुआत की है, तो उसने ELSS में जाना चाहिए, लेकिन पोर्टफोलियो देख के उसमें अगर फंड मैनेजर कैसा इन्वेस्ट किया है, डाइवर्सिफाइड तो रहते हैं सब फंड, लेकिन मिड कैप और स्मॉल कैप का अलोकेशन कैसा है, लार्ज कैप का कैसा है, और एज के मुताबिक वी गिव द सॉल्यूशन टू द क्लाइंट.
So thank you, Krishna sir, for that. Vishal, my last two questions are for you. Could you also, you talked about the 9Cs and your process of a portfolio construction. Could you also talk about the risk management process that you follow in spite of the 3-year lock-in, which in some cases may lead people to think that this was a concentrated portfolio category?
We have very strong risk management and internal compliances in place. Despite the portfolio relatively being small in place, but it is very well diversified. At no point of time, the number of scripts in the portfolio have ever gone below 50, and that is the internal team that monitors it day in, day out, and any deviation, whether it is sectorial deviations, whether it is number of scripts, whether it is cash percentages, that is flagged off, and on immediate basis, we act on it. So first of all, we don't take any aggressive sectorial calls. I mean, come what may, to whatever extent we have an inclination for a particular sector, the aggressive allocation is not there. Secondly, on the flip side also, even if we see a weakness in the market for time being, then we don't take aggressive cash calls. We try and invest into stocks which are low beta, or stocks even though they may temporarily underperform but have immense potential to perform better in the medium to long term. Third, in terms of diversification, it is well diversified across sector, across companies. And last but not the least, we are categorically clear that in certain areas we may let go of an opportunity, but we will not risk any amount. Example, we have zero exposure to the paint sector because it is a very well-known fact, and writing is clear on the wall that the largest, one of the largest conglomerates in the country is entering that sector. We are unsure as to how the paint sector's fortunes would be over the next 2 years in terms of competitive intensity going strong. Similar is the case. We are not seeing a rural economy showing signs of buoyancy as on date, and therefore the largest FMCG MNC company is absent in our portfolio. So it's a pure bottom-up stock picking approach that we have identified. And in terms of sector also, we are very much clear, and that puts our risk management practices very much intact in place.
Right. Thank you so much, Vishal, for that. My last question was for Vishal, but I would request both our panelists to react to it. First Vishal and then Krishna ji. What is your key message to investors or to the audience that when it comes to the fund or the category? So Vishal, first you, and then we'll go to Krishna ji.
You can say that the performance of the fund off late is in front of you. So the numbers speak much more better than what I can tell. I can only aspire that we will continue to better on these efforts. This is a journey and not a destination. And most importantly, the size of the fund gives us the agility to move in, move out of any sector or any company at one particular point of time. I mean, at the beginning of the conversation, when you gave the figure that this category ELSS manages 1.75 lakh crore, we should also acknowledge the fact that the top 10 or the top 15 or the top 20 AMCs operating in the ELSS category will really have to think in terms of the impact cost. कि अगर आज वो ELSS funds को अगर कोई सेक्टर या कंपनी अच्छी लगती है या उसमें बहुत अच्छा पोटेंशियल लग रहा है, तो उसमें अगर 2, 3 या 4%, 5% अगर उन्हें पोजीशन बनाना रहे, तो उसका बाइंग कॉस्ट या उसका सेलिंग कॉस्ट से ही उनका इम्पैक्ट इतना आएगा कि वो ज्यादातर मीडियम या लार्ज कैप स्पेस में ही रहते हैं, या एक नोन नेम्स में ही रहते हैं, या फिर एक बेंचमार्क में जो कंपनीज हैं उनके साथ में अपना पोजीशन डिवेट करते हैं. उन्हें शायद वो एक मौका नहीं मिलता उनके साइज की वजह से कि वो एक कंपनी चूज कर सके जो आज शायद मीडियम होगी अपने साइज में, लेकिन आगे चल के उसका ट्रू पोटेंशियल या ट्रू वैल्यू अनलॉक होगी क्योंकि इम्पैक्ट कॉस्ट उनको अलाउ नहीं करेगा. लेकिन हमारे पास वो एक बहुत बड़ा एडवांटेज है जो हम अपने बेनिफिट के लिए प्ले आउट कर सकते हैं.
Right. And Krishna ji, any last message for our audience?
Yes. मेरा मैसेज ये रहेगा कि कम से कम लॉक इन पीरियड, कम से कम इन्वेस्टमेंट, मिनिमम 500 और मैक्सिमम 1.5 लाख यू कैन पुट। मैं दावे के साथ बोलता हूँ, अगर ये साल आप मिनिमम इन्वेस्टमेंट करोगे, नेक्स्ट ईयर आपकी पहली चॉइस ELSS ही रहेगी। मैं दावे के साथ बोलता हूँ। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you so much for such a great closure, Krishna ji. Thank you to both of you, Vishal and Mr. Pandre, for being a part of this session. We are delighted to bring this collaboration of practitioner and manager coming together for this session to talk about ELSS funds and the category and how it can fit into anybody's portfolio. This is December, and I'm sure a lot of our audience will be considering tax investments as the financial year comes to a closure. Thank you everyone for being a part of this session. We hope to bring many such sessions again for you in the future. Till then, thank you so much. Take care, and we will see you again soon. And thank you again to both the panelists for being so patient and taking out your time to be with us. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mayur.
Thank you.